Hello and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I'm Graham Hughes. You are watching, Morning Brew. And it is Monday, the 27th of October, 2025. Well done on making it this far. We're having some work done in the room above me. So if there's any banging, clanging, groaning going on upstairs, don't worry, I'm not housing an orgy. It is just the workman putting in a radiator because it's bloody freezing. It's about to be winter. Okay, so Graham Haller is in the chat, and so is Diz and Sarah. Lost Missionary. Sid is again is in the chat. Oh, sorry, I said Diz and then Sid, different name, just 3 letters. Dark 4x4 is in there. Hey, Dark, how you doing? We've also got Martin Harrow and Saz. Got Saz, Sid, and Diz. Cool. Right, okay, I'm on top of it. And we've got Lisa as well, and Shropshire Chris, and SG. Hey, SG, how you doing? SG's usually very generous with the old super chat, so thank you very much to SG for joining us this morning. In fact, everybody is. You're all lovely. Anyway, so this morning we're going to talk about Tory corruption, because, why not? There's 3 stories today that have appeared in the newspapers and on the BBC website, which are just absolutely mind-blowing, absolutely just off the charts. How have the Tories been allowed to how were they allowed to get away with this in the first place? Britain is broken at the moment, not because of people coming across in boats, not because of trans people existing, not because of, the boogie, moonlight, good times. It's broken because the Tories broke it on purpose, while enriching themselves and their friends. That's the headline. That's the takeaway, okay? That's all you need to know. If you want, you can go back to sleep now. But Labour's now inherited the fallout. I've spoken before about the shit sandwich that Labour were handed by the Tories, and I'm not defending Labour in what they've done over the last year and a bit, because a lot of the shit they've done has been really shit. But I will say that anyone coming in, no matter how much we sync up on our ideals and what we want to see for modern, prosperous, multicultural Britain, I think that any government would struggle after 14 years of this. 14 years of this. So we're not going to let Tory MPs rewrite history, pretend it wasn't them. Like, they keep doing this. Like, Kemi Badenoch keeps standing up in Prime Minister's questions, going, "Why did you do this?" It's like, that was your policy. We inherited it. We inherited the shit show. But and also, I mean, this speaks to a lot of not just the fact that there's zero accountability in Parliament, which we know, especially on the right. Also, crony contracts, which we'll talk about, we'll get into. But also, like the failure of privatisation across the board. Whether we're talking about accommodation for asylum seekers in hotels, whether we're talking about prisons, whether we're talking about water privatisation, rail privatisation, in nearly every single aspect of life that has been privatized, with the possible exception of the phones, I guess. But does that matter anymore? I mean, all our phone lines are open-reach. All our phone lines are BT. That's a monopoly. It's not like you can choose between cable and wireless or Marconi or open-reach. If we get a line in here from Vodafone, it's open-reach. Let's sort that out. I suppose there are places. I don't know. Is there another network apart from the one that open-reach organises? I don't know. Someone in the chat will probably know more about the situation than I do, but it just seems like there's so many natural monopolies out there. You can only have one gas pipe going to feed the suburb or your town or your village. You can't have like multiple gas pipes, and you can choose which supplier you want depending on which flavour gas. It doesn't work that way. Same with electricity. There's just we have all these different electricity companies, but the reality is, I mean, it's only one cable. That we can choose from which cable we want to bring the electricity into the house, and water being the big one. If you're in a particular area, that's your water provider, and they can pour untold amounts of raw sewage into our waterways, and there's nothing we can do about it. I read a story last week, and it blew my mind. It was about a woman who poured coffee down a drain and was given a £150 fine. Did anyone see this? Did anyone see this story about? It was on the BBC website. in Richmond, I think it was, in Twickenham or somewhere. No, Kew, I think it was Kew, which is all down there in south west London. And I was going, oh, what was she supposed to do? Oh, she's supposed to pour it into a bin. And I'm like, all right, if we had separated sewage in this country, where you have pipes that are, pipes underground for sewage, and then we have grey water, which is where the water from our sinks and our taps and our not the toilets, but everything else, a shower, baths, washing up, dishwasher, washing machine, that all goes into the grey water, and that gets joined by the water that's running off the road when it rains, right? Going down the drains, right? So that, when it overflows, okay, it's shit, but it's not literally shit. That's separated off. The sewage system is separate, which happens in a lot of other countries, does not happen here. Because it got antiquated Victorian sewers, your shit and your dishwater go into the same sewer. So when there's too much rain, that sewer overflows. So when we have these floods, it's actually sewers overflowing, like shit sewers. And this is the situation that we've inherited from the Tories, because they thought it was a great idea to privatise everything. Look at the mail. It's now, what was it, £1.80 for a first class stamp? £1.80. I mean, Jesus Christ. I know things have gone up in price, but I mean, that's abhorrent. I mean, at the same time, I was watching Spinal Tap last night, and they had their album out, a new album. It was $5.99. So that was in 1983. It was $5.99 for an album. Now, like, people get awkward if they pay more than a tenner for an album. I mean, you pay more for vinyl, obviously, but for a CD album, people go, I don't want to pay more than a tenner for that. It's just a bit of plastic. If that had gone up in the same rate that the amount we pay out for our postage has gone up, which has gone up 10 times, a 10 times multiplier, we'd be paying £60 for just a normal LP, not like a gated edition, special edition, Taylor Swift signed, blah, blah, blah. Just a normal LP would be $60. That'd be insane. Like, who would pay that? No one. What goes up 10 times? 10 times the cost? It's just apart. Anyway, so that's just talking about the failure of not just like individual policies, but just the mindset. The market will sort everything out. Leave it all to the market. The market will look after us. It'll care for us. It'll make all the good things happen. And it doesn't. And time again, the market fucks up. And then the government has to step in and go, shit, need to do something about this. So yeah, just really, really painful situation that we find ourselves in right now. And like I say, I don't think Labour's making a great job of it by any stretch of the imagination. But let's just talk about this. First of all, we've got three sort of scandals today. So the first one is the asylum accommodation scandal. This is just horrific. Billions wasted, billions with a B, of your money. I think it's disgusting that Nottinghamshire Council are paying out £75,000 of council payers' tax to buy some fucking flags. I mean, I think that's fucking ridiculous. But like, this is billions. So under the Tories, right, the contracts values, right, exploded from 4.5 billion for housing asylum seekers who are waiting for their accommodation, their application to be approved or unapproved, disapproved, whatever, deported back to wherever. Now, in most countries in Europe, this process takes about 6 to 8 months. We did have access to fingerprint records from all over Europe. So if someone had already made an application in another country, we could check that and say, okay, you've already made an application, you've been turned down, we're turning you down as well. And that was a really swift process. We're not part of that anymore. We are not privy to the fingerprints of potential criminals coming here who have already been turned down from other European countries because they're criminals, and we take them in and we leave them in a hotel for months and years on end. So like I say, in most European countries, you're looking at about 6 to 8 months for an asylum seeker's process to be found, for them to find out whether they deserve to stay or not, right? And in most cases, we do decide that they are real asylum seekers, by the way. But in the UK, under the Tories, that process went up to over 3 years in some cases, 3 years. And for some people, the whole time, they were being housed in really expensive hotels that were owned by mates of the Tory party. The corruption here is off the charts. This is just literally the Tories. They've sat down around the table and gone, how can we embezzle fuckloads of money from the taxpayer, give it to our mates, and also demonise asylum seekers at the same time because of how much they're costing us, how much they're costing the British taxpayer. And by doing that, the contract value of housing asylum seekers went from 4.5 billion to 15.3 billion under the Tories in just a few short years. Value for money. There you go. There's the Tory motto, innit? Value for money. And then you've got providers like Clearsprings, Serco, Mears, all rewarded for failure. The Rwanda scheme, do you remember that? The Tories' Rwanda scheme cost hundreds of millions, over £500 million. £500 million more we spent on that Rwanda scheme that didn't see a single asylum seeker actually be deported to Rwanda. 4 people were ever sent there, and I think that was voluntary. And these 10-year contracts handed out under the Tory Home Office incompetence, they went from 2019 onwards. So a lot of these contracts are still in place. And there are things that the Tories, the Labour lot can do about it. But at the moment, it is just looking at this stuff and it's staggering that no one's going to go to jail. You know, you steal a £1.50 bottle of Coke from the off license, and if you've got a bit of a record, you could get a custodial sentence for that. If you're a habitual shoplifter, £1.50 bottle, and here's the Tories stealing over £10 billion and giving it to their mates who run these companies. It's like the prisons. You know who's head of Group 4 security? It's Theresa May's husband, wasn't it? Who got these contracts to, like, you know, take prisoners to prison and to actually build some prisons, build some private prisons. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, because what we need when someone's, you know, murdered someone, raped someone, just made their lives a fucking misery, burgled their house, you know, run them over on the road because they were drunk. What we really need is a private company. We need some shareholders to make money out of that situation, don't we? That's the moral thing to do. Yeah, that's what Jesus would have done, obviously. Ovs. Why would you not want to make money out of jail? I mean, it's just, come on. And so, yeah, these hotels were used as long-term detention, which they were never supposed to be. They were supposed to be short-term while councils and charities found somewhere for people to live. And billions of taxpayers' money, your money that you spend, you give every time you buy something in this country. You pay VAT on most things, right? It was supposed to just be on luxury goods, but it's on most things that we have this value-added tax. And then we also have income tax that we have to pay. We have taxed up the kazooie on lots of things. I mean, we're taxing our savings, for Christ's sake, in this country, which is just kind of crazy, but there you go. I mean, tax people on their investments, sure. On their savings, okay. I mean, if the savings are like £1 million a year, okay, I can get on board with that. But if the savings are just like, you know, a few £1,000s, why are you even wasting the fucking paperwork to find out how much tax they owe? Just seems completely bonkers to me. And there you go. You got you know, billions being funded to private firms with profit incentives and zero penalties for poor performance. Can you believe that? Can you believe the fucking Christmas come early for these old school chums of the Tory MPs and Tory ministers? They were just handed all this money, billions, just handed it from the taxpayer straight to them. And they said, don't worry about accountability. Don't worry about being, you know, on time or doing the right thing or whatever. Don't worry about it. You know, take a load off. I mean, this is pretty fucking grim. This is failure by design, isn't it? Isn't it? A hostile environment plus privatization, chaos, absolute fucking Tory chaos. Hotels costing £145 per person per night versus a shared housing which costs £23. 145. I hope I'm reading this right out the articles. There's articles on the BBC, there's on the Guardian. £145 per person per night. So if two people were sharing, if a couple was sharing a room, if a couple had kids, and the hotel was getting 100, so the hotel's getting nearly what, 550 quid, more than 550 quid, nearly 600 quid a night for a family of 4 in the same room. This is a really gorgeous hotel in Liverpool. It's our first 5-star hotel in Liverpool. It's called the Municipal Hotel. It's in the Municipal Building, which is at the top of Dale Street. If anyone came to the talk, Hayseed, Dizzy Dizzle and others, if anyone came to the talk at the Ship and Mitre, it's just over the road from the Ship and Mitre pretty much. In Liverpool, it's this old, beautiful building that they've converted into a hotel. And we were looking at lastminute.com last night, and there was a room there that you could have for 150 quid in a 5-star hotel for 2 people. So 75 quid each. And I know that was a special offer, but fucking hell. If you're on a grift, this is grifter's dream. Grifter's dream. Captain Coconut, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Starting off the super chats for the week. Remember when they mocked us for leaving a letter saying, sorry, there is no money? That is much better than actively undermining our country. Yeah, they went on about the joke letter saying, sorry, old chap, there's no money left, which was an old joke that chancellors used to do going back decades. And the Tories held this up like something that was actually true when Britain was in, we had the economic credit crunch like everywhere else did on earth. But when the Labour left office, you got to give it to them in 2012. They left the economy on an upward trajectory. It was the Tories that smashed that with their austerity, Brexit, COVID response, Truss's mini budget. Boom, 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 boom. They just took us all out. That's what they did. They took us all out. And now anyone who is on a fixed mortgage, who has to get it reviewed in a year's time or 2 years' time, 3 years' time, they're going to be looking at what their new interest rate is, and it's going to be double, it's going to be triple, it's going to be even more than that in some cases. Their monthly repayments are going to go through the roof because of Liz Truss. Josh, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Wouldn't surprise me if they did a hotel VIP lane. Yeah, good point, Josh. Yeah, I think they probably did actually. I think looking at who they gave the contracts to, it was their mates. They did give it to their mates. Let's put a challenge on this morning. Let's put a super chat goal for some confetti, and I'll continue on after 10 o'clock. I should really pack up today after 10 because, like I say, we've got the workmen here, and they're probably going to be banging away in a bit. Working upstairs, and so they're going to be banging away in our bedroom while I'm trying to do this stream, which might be a little bit distracting, but yeah, so I should really wrap up at 10. But if we achieve our super chat target, any colour in the next 45 minutes, then I'll continue to chaunt on for a little bit. We've got a lot to get through today, to be fair. What are we up to? 20 past, and I've barely got through the half of what I was going to talk about hotels. So yeah, hotels, £145. That is fucking crazy. So what's that? That's 580 quid for a family of 4, if that's per person. 580 quid a night to put 4 people in a hotel room, in a shitty hotel room. Give them a fucking boiled egg and a bit of stale bread for breakfast. Fucking hell. Wow. So Clearsprings and Mears, they owe 46 million pounds back to the Home Office, and the Home Office hasn't audited this. Contaminated sites bought at inflated prices. There was 15.4 million pounds spent on an estate in Bexhill which wasn't used. There was 48.5 million pounds wasted on RAF Scrampton, and then that was cancelled. The Tories just burnt money. They burnt through our money. The reason why Britain is on his arse now is because the Tories just, well, actually, if they had burnt the money, I think I would have preferred that, because it didn't mean that just one or two people were getting filthy fucking rich off our hard labour. We're the people who work, right? We're the people who actually, contribute to society, with what we do in our lives and the labour that we give. And then we pay tax. We pay tax to have a society that's supposed to look after us and not make us feel scared to leave the house because of all the crime, or because of all the transphobes, or because of the Tories, just getting rid of all the police officers. We don't need police officers. They'll be fine. It'll be fine. Filming for another channel upstairs, G. As the OnlyFans upstairs. YouTube down here. What hurricane? There's a hurricane about to slam into Jamaica later today. It's a rare Category 5 hurricane. It's going to cause a lot of fucking damage. My heart goes out to the people in Jamaica right now. They don't need this, and it's a human manufactured hurricane because it's caused by climate change. Because we're obsessed with burning filthy fuel, nightmare fuel. I'm going to just call it nightmare fuel, I think, from now on. You work for the nightmare fuel companies. Okay, cool. Anyway, so, so there's also a safeguarding scandal that's gone on. So not just the money that's been embezzled and just taken out of the public coffers and given to the Tories. We've got children who were wrongly age assessed as adults, and they were put in unsafe housing and barracks in Napier, Wethersfield, and the zero safeguarding and the trafficking risk, and children went missing. Hundreds of children just went missing. We don't know where they are. Probably being abused somewhere up in, I don't know, some fucking bedsit in Carlisle. We'll never know. We'll never fucking know because of what the Tories did. So, Labour's got this task now. They've got to reform asylum accommodation and contract rules, not continue the Tory rhetoric. They've got to allow asylum seekers to fucking work. Jesus Christ. Let them work. So it costs the taxpayer less money. Let them work and pay for their own accommodation while their application is being sorted. Get the application sorted faster. We need to get back into the Dublin Agreement, and we need a processing centre in Calais. And we need an online site, an online portal where you can claim asylum. You go to your local British embassy. There's a British embassy in every country in the world, right? Go to the fucking British embassy, except Vatican City and Palestine, right? Go to your British embassy or High Commission that is in the country that you're in and say, I want to claim asylum. Okay, take your fingerprints, take a scan of your eyes. Cool, right? We've got them on record now. Here's your number, here's your code, here's your PIN, here's your website that you need to go to. And make it in English. Make the website in English. So it's difficult to apply if English isn't a language that you speak. Okay, fine. I have no problem with that. And also, make people pay for it. I have no problem with that either. Don't think this is something that I think that we should be doing for charity reasons. Because I appreciate the real world that we actually live in, and we can't be, doing the application process and expecting the British taxpayer to pay for that, especially as a load of people will try and apply who maybe aren't real asylum seekers. I mean, the minority. But if you're going to spend that much money and you're not a real asylum seeker, that's a bit of a strange thing to do, I've got to say. I've actually got a mark on the camera, which is annoying me, and I'm going to have to just get rid of it. So just give me a moment, all right? No, that's staying there. So sorry anyone watching in 3D who got freaked out then. Anyway, so yeah, introduce Labour need to get rid of the backlog. They need to get safe routes. They need penalties as well. Penalties for contractor abuse, which is something that the Tories didn't do because it was all shaking hands behind closed doors and. Yeah, and then let's go from the Home Office to the Ministry of Justice, the MOJ. Contractor ISG collapses. 40 firms are left unpaid for £20 million worth of prison work. These are contractors who were paid to make prisons, work in prisons, workers building prisons in Birmingham, in Dorset, and in Liverpool, are now facing bankruptcy. The Tory era project bank accounts promise failed. The money was never ring fenced. And this is another Carillion where the Tories gave loads of money to a private company and the private company then subcontracted out to all these different subcontractors, but kept all the money for themselves because the directors of the company wanted a bigger yacht. And, the Tories were obsessed with outsourcing public services to their fucking cronies. Project bank accounts were window dressing and they were never enforced. And MOJ, under Labour now, are now facing all these, they're facing all this money that they have to pay out. And small businesses have been crushed, workers unpaid, local economies hit. Trusting government contracts has been shattered by the Tories, so that's going to be difficult now for Labour to get new contracts in for stuff that needs to be built urgently because our infrastructure is falling apart. I mean, the Tories have done a number on us. Like, I can't just get through to people who still think that refuck are the way forward. They're just Tories. They're just Tory light. I mean, Tory extra, whatever you want to call them. They're the same people. They went to the same schools, the same millionaires with the same crony mates. That's who they are. That's who they always will be. Small businesses just get destroyed by these posh, arrogant bastards. They always talk about SMEs, small and medium enterprises. They're generally not set up by the private school mafia. The private school mafia are the ones who set up like a record label or a chain of pubs, or they'll fucking have a vacuum cleaner empire or something because they went to private school. They've got a Uncle Rich money bags who can give them any kind of money they need to get started. But the rest of us, we do start small. We start with a little cafe that's just us and our partner fucking putting, cakes together and baking coffee or whatever you do. And we build up from there. And then to have these big government contractors come along, right, who are mates of the Tories, he's fucking mates of the Tories, aren't they? And they say, do you want a subcontract to do this job? And you're like, yeah, okay, well, we'll do that job. And then you do the job. You're out of pocket and they don't fucking pay you. And this is always with the little people. I found this when I was... one of the things that I find really nice about doing this job, right, is that I get paid each month, 21st, 22nd of the month. Google put some money in my bank account and that's it. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's enough to keep my head above water. I've never really experienced that before. I've always been chasing money. I've always been doing jobs, doing filming jobs, doing writing jobs, doing directing jobs, doing editing jobs, and then having to ask for the money afterwards. And the bigger the company, the bigger the enterprise that you did the thing for, the longer it takes to pay. I mean, I don't like private schools anyway, but I once went to a very, 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 very famous private school to give a talk about my travels around the world. And I did it. I didn't get paid to do it, but I sold some books, right? Not many, not a lot. But I sold some books and I thought that'll pay for me train fare down to London. Actually, I think I took the bus. We're not talking about vast sums of money here. It took me about 4 months to get the money back for those books. So I had to have the books printed, take them down to London in a box, do me talk, sell the books to these kids of literal fucking billionaires. And the school took so long to fucking pay me. It was like 4 months. I did work for some big record labels, for some actual major studios, not like not like a Hollywood film that I was working on, but like a making of stuff that I was just doing the camera work for, whatever, and some behind the scenes stuff, some interviews with certain people, and I just remember it just taking months and months to get paid, and you'd waste so much time sending invoices and saying, please, will you pay me? I'm going to put an extra 10% on. I'm going to put an extra 10% on, and each month you put another 10% on. And then when you finally get paid, they pay the original amount. They don't put the extra 10% on. And can you be arsed? Can you be arsed then spending another fucking 4 months asking for the 30 quid that they didn't fucking pay, that they were supposed to, for not paying on time? And it just gets to a point where you're like, fuck this. And it's the biggest problem with running your own business, with working for yourself, being a freelancer, having your own company in this country, is if you're a little guy, the big guys just don't pay you. And that's what Trump is famous for, by the way. That's one of the other reasons I hate that fucking orange fucking cunt. Sorry to demonetize the channel. And my mum says I shouldn't swear so much, but I mean, it's my shtick, It's just what I do. I just, I watched Billy Elliot. We watched Spinal Tap and Billy Elliot last night because Kat had never seen them, and I'm like, we can't live in Durham and not have seen Billy Elliot, and you can't not have seen Spinal Tap. So I forgot how funny Spinal Tap is. It's fucking hilarious. Anyway, I was even a little bit surprised the amount of swearing in Billy Elliot. I was like, I don't remember it being this sweary. Oh my god, it is a sweary film. I mean, magnificently sweary, but yeah, sweary film. It just comes with the territory. It's just us Northerners. We just like to swear. But yeah, so this is a story about these contractors not getting paid, the little contractors. And then you see this pattern, Carillion, AQA, PPE, MedPro, anyone now ISG, this contract that's collapsed, and then the subcontractors have all going bankrupt, and this is the hollowing out of the social contract, if anything else. The government, for years, our government was so fucking corrupt. Like this month, like next month actually, if you have a company in Companies House, right, which I do, unfortunately, when I called it Evandel Star, which is the name of the star, it's basically the North Star in the Tolkien mythology. I didn't think that would be too controversial, but now because Peter Thiel and his mates are obsessed with Lord of the Rings, they name everything after things from Lord of the Rings. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I've got a private limited company, whatever they call it. And that's mainly so, I've got a little degree of separation in case anything goes horrifically wrong in my life or whatever. But yeah, the way that small businesses sort of run in this country, you've got to have that trust that you will actually, get the money that you promised. And if the government isn't fulfilling on its obligations, because it says, well, we gave money to this contractor, right? And then they were supposed to pay the subcontractors, but then that contractor goes bump because it's corrupt. It's not. It's badly run. It overloads on how many projects it's working on. Don't forget, Carillion were doing Liverpool's new hospital. That got delayed for about 5 years because Carillion went bankrupt. It breaks down that social contract, doesn't it? Of like the people who they think they're doing a government job, but they're not. They're working for another private contractor, and the government's got these degrees of separation to try and keep everything at arm's length. I mean, the level of corruption is just horrific. And if you got your own private company now, finally under Labour, they've changed the rules, and you have to say who you are. You have to have an address in the UK. Yeah, you can't just buy an address in London. Well, I don't know if you still can actually, but they're tightening up the rules on having a private limited company and being registered in Companies House, finally. But what you got to understand is, before the rules have been tightened up, Companies House was the biggest money laundering scam in the world. in the world. We are talking billions of dollars, maybe even trillions. We don't know. This is the thing. We don't know. You self-report your data to Companies House. They hardly followed up on anything. There's addresses where there's 17,000 fucking companies all registered to the same address. That if you want to launder your money, this is the place to come, Britain. And this is something that a lot of British people just don't really. I feel like they don't comprehend in the way that they should. We look down on countries in sub-Saharan Africa and go, "Oh my God, they're so corrupt. What's the point of giving them charity? They're just so corrupt." And I'm like, mate, compared with the corruption in this country and our little, satellites, the Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos, and the Bermuda and Gibraltar, the Isle of Man. Oh my God, the corruption is strong in this land. It is very strong. I hope this new situation with Companies House and with your company bank accounts and how they're going to keep an eye on those things, I hope it does make a difference, because I don't want to live in a corrupt country. I don't want to live in a country that routinely launders money for drug dealers and Russian oligarchs. I don't want that. I don't want to live in that country. But a lot of us don't seem to realise that we do live in that country, and we fucking do. There's a lot of corruption in this country. A lot of corruption in this country. I realise that I'm really bright. I should close the curtains over, shouldn't I, when I'm doing the morning show? Because when the sun comes in, that's obviously the east window, the east facade of our mansion. But yeah, SG, who's been a member for 9 months. The corruption in this country is suited and booted. Yeah, but on a lower level, it's like they'll come down on you like a ton of bricks. But on those the higher echelons, the private school mafia lot, they literally get away with murder because we have a two-tier justice system. And it's really ironic that Farage goes, two-tier policing, two-tier justice, and they're like, yeah, he's right, there is. But the difference is he's talking about two different tiers. The real two tiers is the posh bastards, the posh neo-aristocratic fuckbags like Nigel Farage, and the rest of us. They're the two tiers. They don't have to follow the rules. They don't have to follow the laws. You saw how mad they went when they had to wear masks to go out, or they couldn't go to the pub, or they had to lock down, and they were like, "Hey, I'm not locking down. I don't follow the same rules as the plebs." It was all your Julia Heartless Brewer and your loser Fox and all those lot who were losing their shit during lockdown. The rest of us just got on with it. But they were like, how dare they take away my right to go to the pub? That's in the Magna Carta. Fucking dickheads. And then we're going on to the NHS. Asylum seekers. Department of Justice, the Ministry of Justice. Let's go on to the NHS, right? Waiting lists are rising again. Apparently they're up to 7.4 million. The NHS says that without an extra 3 billion of funding, surgeries are going to be delayed. Weekend evening surgery is going to be cancelled. Treatment rations, and so that people who don't have non-urgent stuff can wait. And staff redundancies. There's a threat of another strike coming on the horizon. This is really grim. After 14 years of Tory austerity and underfunding of the NHS, Brexit drove 100,000 EU staff workers out. 100,000. Actually, it wasn't just EU staff workers. There were people who were British, right? British passport, British born, who left the country because their spouse was from Europe. Their spouse was from the EU, and they couldn't continue to live here for whatever reason. That's pretty fucking shit. You got people who are working in hospitals, not necessarily doctors, but people who are working in hospitals who weren't earning enough to have a foreign partner. Because in this country now, you can only have a foreign partner if you're dead rich. That's the rules that the rich have made for you. You can't move anywhere else in Europe. You can't live and work anywhere else in Europe. You can't marry someone from another country. Except maybe Ireland. Yeah. So the COVID crony contracts drained billions from our health budget. Billions and billions. Don't forget, they allocated 37 billion for the test and trace app that didn't fucking work. When we could have just used the German one that they fucking made and it fucking worked for like a few million. I mean, and of course, the woman put in charge of that, Dido Harding, privately educated, of course, old Eld University cham of David Cameron. They probably abused a pig together. I don't know what these sick fucks get up to. I just, but you can imagine, can't you? So yeah, and then Labour's dilemma is you got Rachel Reeves with her red lines and her fiscal responsibility, and you've got Wes Streeting, who I'm no fan of, but he wants NHS reform, which I understand. I don't understand his position on trans people. That's just fucking weird and awful. But reforming the parts of the NHS that are problematic at the moment, yes, I completely get that. But without the money, without cash, how's he supposed to do it? And NHS leaders are losing patience. You can't fix waiting lists without fixing problems in capacity. You can't fix capacity without funding, and you can't get that funding if you're still going to be doing some kind of like austerity light, which I don't think is going to happen in the next budget. But I really don't want to be unpleasantly surprised. Well, there's common themes with these three stories today: privatization failure, public money looted by corporations, Tory created crises now landing on Labour's desk, and the only way that Labour can actually solve all these problems is they have to make a clean break with the Tory economic ideology. Clean break from austerity, Brexit, cronyism, and the corruption that the Tories just absolutely embodied. And why Labour isn't making hay out of this, I do not know. You're like, there's the hay, and like, oh, okay, well, there's the dry grass. Can you make some hay? And Tory MPs crying about migrants costing money. No, it's the private companies that the Tories put in place that's really costing the money. And here's a question for you. Why is Britain so forgiving of corporate failure, but so brutal to human beings? Yeah? Oh, they're drilling upstairs. That probably sounds awful on the microphone, but... and, the so-called fiscal conservatives who burnt through more public money than anyone in history. Anyway, I'm going to read some comments while I'm getting drilling noises from upstairs. I promise you it's drilling noises. Unfortunately, the term witch hunt has been massively misused to the point where they actually try and prosecute the last government, which would have seen as such and turned into another dog whistle from fascists. There's one angry pagan. Sarah said, did you see the Reform Ghostbuster doing what looked like a game show, giving prizes to Reform recruit teams who signs up the most gets £5,000? I mean, I didn't see that, but if that's what they do, I mean, that's a good idea. Labour should do that. Labour should get people to sign up to Labour. But they don't, because their comms are shit. Reform's comms are a lot better than Labour's. And I think that Labour are really going to get punished because of that. Put some money aside, Labour. Put some money aside for decent comms. You will be lucky to see a GP pass all the work onto the advanced nurse practitioners, paramedics, and pharmacists, says Chris C. Even a few million is too much for what T&T track and trace app is. Martin Harrow. I mean, that tracking. Do you remember that they had the phones and people were on the phones? Like, I had to talk to them once because like my family got COVID and I had COVID. My test came up negative, and they wanted to know who I'd hung out with in the last few days or whatever, who I'd been to, and it was just so poorly put together. It was just a massive waste of money. Do you remember the Nightingale hospitals? Never used. I'm sorry, but says Chrissy, Reeves needs to either start acting like a Labour chancellor or get out of the way to allow someone with the balls to stick two fingers up to the wealthiest. Yeah. I've been this is just okay. I've been lurking for ages, but I have to ask because I'm nosy. What's the plaque or frame that's always on Graham's sofa next to the cuddly toy? That's my Guinness World Record certificate. It's my Guinness World Record certificate. Well, one of them. I've got two. That's the one for the fastest time to visit all countries by surface transport, which was achieved from January 2009 to January 2013. So that's my certificate there. Just in case I get a little bit of imposter syndrome and think, did I really go to every country in the world without flying? Oh yeah, I did. Only fans for sure upstairs. Don't know what's happening upstairs. I've been to my GP a few times this year and always seen her on the day I make the appointment. I've seen my GP. I get to see my GP on the day I make the appointment, but then again, I live in Durham. There's not many people around here. Do you know what I mean? If I lived in a very packed suburb of a city, I think it might be a little bit more difficult. But then again, I mean, look, I've got, in my experience, and I know that some people have had really horrific experiences of the NHS, so I'm just probably very lucky in this. But in all the times in my life that I've needed the NHS, it's been there for me, and it's been there for my family. It's been there, for people in my life, and there's been a few times that it's not happened to me. Okay, it's not happened to me, but I know some bad things that have happened to friends of mine. I mean, really bad things that have happened. But from selfishly, from just my experience of being able to see the doctor, if I've got any health complaints, being able to get that sorted out or whatever needed to be done. I've had a very positive experience myself, although I'm not saying that to say that people who have had a bad experience don't have something to add to this conversation, because they absolutely do. It's just that I think that the experience we have with the NHS is deeply personal, and I think that one bad experience can cause a feeling of negativity towards the NHS as a whole, which is sad. But I guess that's human nature in a way. But and maybe this is my privilege. Maybe it's my privilege for being, speaking English, being white, being a cisgender male, and being given that support. And what I want more than anything is for the level of support, the level of care that I've received for everyone. I don't want people to be discriminated against because of their racial background. I don't want people to be discriminated against because English isn't their first language. I don't want people to be discriminated against because they're women. There's a lot of medical misogyny out there as well. And a lot of trans women, trans men being discriminated against because the likes of J.K. Rowling and stuff screaming about having to have, women-only wards. And it's like, what is this, the fucking 1950s? Seriously? I mean, what? There's people in a fucking coma, and Anyway, FT Griffin, thank you very much for the second super chat of the 10 that we're hoping to get in the next 10 minutes. Bring back public services into public hands. Couldn't agree more, mate. FT Griffin 3116. I couldn't agree more. I honestly do it. Just fucking do it. Hey, listen, if anyone else wants to join the chat, by the way, any lurkers out there want to ask a question or find out something, or just call me. I'll see you next Tuesday. I don't care. All interaction's good. We will mute you though. We will mute you. If you want to I made the super chat animation come up there. Sorry, subscribe. Subscribe to the channel and wait for a minute, and then you'll be able to join in with the chat if you've not already done so. NHS is brilliant in general. It's a primary care side that is lacking, e.g. GPs, dentistry, mental health services. Yeah, mental health services. But even there, I've dear people in my life who have needed mental health services, and some of them have got the health services that they required, and some of them haven't. And it just comes across to me like, I mean, dumb luck for a start, but also, I hate the fact that there's a postcode lottery. I hate the fact that if you are a woman, especially if you're a black woman, you're not going to get the same kind of level of care that you get if you're a white man. And we see this black women are more likely to encounter difficulties giving birth than white women are in this country. Why is that? So I'll turn this down a little bit. Oh God, turned down too far. That's night for day now, isn't it? Jesus, hang on. Let's get this. That's what I get for using a proper camera instead of just a webcam. I'm seriously thinking of getting one of those webcams, you know, the ones that Tanner's got and Phil, you know, the ones that follow you around as you move. They sort of follow you. I'll get one of them. I'm still waiting for polyp to be removed 18 months after it was discovered, says Chris. Yeah, we can all. I mean, yeah, we can all talk about our situations, but I mean, the fact that it's taken so long for me to get my medication for ADHD, which was diagnosed back in January, and then I had to wait so long before then to just get that diagnosis is kind of crazy. Listen, I'm gonna go and shut the curtains because I want to just change the I just want to make it a little bit less what can I say, a little less so I'm sort of dark and then we've got this really bright light here and it's a bit too much. I'm gonna go and shut the curtains. In the meantime, enjoy this politics social ident. There you go. Right, back on. There you go. That's better, isn't it? Looks like nighttime now. There you go. God, I need a producer. Could you imagine it was someone standing behind my desk? There's not much space behind my desk, but it's against the wall. But standing on the adjusting it. There you go, Graham. Now the lighting looks all right. You don't look all fucking crazy. Okay, so thank you very much to Andrew. Is that a drill or a Russian drone above? I hope it's a drill. If it's a Russian drone, that's a bit scary. We've got 3 of 10 super chats come in. We've got 10 minutes. 10 minutes left, my friends, to throw in some more super chats if you want some kefefi and for me to chunder on past 10 o'clock. Lol, it's often too dark, it's often too bright. It's just that this is an east window, so when we have the sunrise, it can come through. Anyway, should we go and find out what Katy Perry's up to? This is news. This is news of national import. We've got the Daily Mail here. Get this newspaper for 50. I'd rather not. New asylum fiasco. Billions wasted on hotels for migrants. This is the first story of today. Bombshell report reveals incompetence. Home office staff let private firms made excessive profits from small boats crisis. And it's official. Katy Perry is going out with Justin Trudeau. Hurrah! Oh my God. Glad that happened. We've also got the Times here. First for football, Arsenal extend lead at top. For the first time? I don't understand. Is that the first time Arsenal have ever led? What a strange headline. First for football. Maybe it's like someone who's thirsty for football. Oh, that's spelled differently. Why Kate wants Prince Andrew to move fast because he's a fucking nonce. Trump trade agreement set to spare China from 100% tariff. So Trump's bumming around Asia at the moment, making a twat of himself. He was in Malaysia yesterday. And he's apparently doing a deal with China so he doesn't have to put 100% tariffs on them, whatever. Billions lost to flawed hotel deals for migrants. Ministers failed to recoup share of excess profits. The Home Office has squandered billions of pounds housing migrants in hotels due to incompetence and has failed to recoup tens of millions of pounds in excess profits owed by companies. An investigation by MPs has found. And there's Justin Trudeau, a different picture of Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry. Having a bit of a walk together. There you go. The ex-Prime Minister of Canada, and she's now 41. She's 41. This is the date in Paris for the singer's 41st birthday. I didn't know she was that old. She's almost as old as me. Doesn't quite look as good as me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue on past 10 of this. The work upstairs continues. Economic nightmare costs women more sleep. The cost of living squeeze is hitting women hardest. Research shows that Britain's economic gender imbalance continues to widen. A study has found 29% a 29% increase in the gap between men and women's economic well-being in the past 12 months. So that's quite an interesting story there. We've got when did fish and chips become such a luxury? £23 for fish and chips. Well, the Tories, because of the people that the Daily Telegraph want you to vote for, the Tories, and now refuck, the cost of everything has just exploded. Right? And we can't get cheap fish anymore because we're not part of the EU. And the fish that we get from around our country isn't usually cod. We don't usually get that from around our country because cod doesn't really hang out here very much. We get fish that we don't really want to eat from around here. I don't know, like mackerel and shit. I quite like mackerel though. Beyond the fringe, best haircuts for de-aging. And there's a picture there of Emma Thingy. What's her fucking name? Emma Thingy from Thingy, you know. What's her name? From, you know, those movies. All those movies. Emma Stone. Thank you. Emma Stone. See, no one had told me. I haven't come up in the chat yet. Emma Stone. From the movie. Yeah, that woman from those things. She's only like, I don't know, 35, isn't she? Anyway, so Daily Telegraph here. Billions wasted in migrants' hotel chaos. Covered that. Patients flee NHS in record numbers to get care abroad. Record numbers of patients are seeking treatment abroad to avoid long waiting times for the NHS. I mean, that's kind of a bit shit that people have to go abroad, but if they can afford to go abroad, then won't that open up more slots for people who can't afford to go abroad? Dare I say it? Is that a bit uncaring? I don't know. Anyway, there's a picture of Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry, and they're walking hand in hand. So there you go. Every fucking newspaper today. Andrew faces public finance inquiry over rent-free Royal Lodge. 2 arrested over Louvre jewel heist, which is quite amazing considering, like, I thought that they got away with it. I think they probably have got away with it. I doubt they'll recover the jewels. Nothing's been said about recovering the jewels yet, so we will see. Met and CPS failing to tackle anti-Semitism. It's failing to tackle any kind of fucking form of bigotry, isn't it? So doesn't surprise me. And then singing together may help unite this country again. No, Jane, because I can't sing for shit. And if I do anything when I sing, it's probably to drive people apart, if not insane. Blow for Reeves as factory spending falls. Fears of Rachel Reeves launching a tax raid on manufacturers have sent factory spending to its lowest level since the aftermath of the Brexit vote. The aftermath of the Brexit vote. The lowest levels since the aftermath of the Brexit vote. This is the Daily Telegraph, one of the shit bastard newspapers, the gutter press, the slime that told you to vote for Brexit. This was a very Brexity newspaper. And now they're saying, yeah, well, you know, the aftermath of Brexit, that wasn't great, was it? That wasn't particularly good. That wasn't a good one. So now we'll go over to the I newspaper. Lucy Powell and other problems piling up for Starmer. Why is she... Deputy leader will be a figurehead for the soft left. Don't call me soft. I'm glad that she's going to be standing up for people who aren't, you know, multimillionaires. And Amelia 12 blazes a trail with amazing bionic hand. That's quite cool and a bit scary, maybe. And then we've got Sting over here, Gordon Sumner, going back to basics. Apparently, privately educated, of course. Oh no, I don't think he was. Was he? Was he? Oh, I need to look that up. Number 10 in talks to water down day one workers' rights amid new growth warnings there. We've also got on the front line, adverts, a special dispatch from secret locations south of Zaporizhia on the front lines with Zelensky's killer drone unit. In a hidden underground bunker, Sam Keeley watches Team Grey deploy Typhoon drones to hunt down and pick off enemy soldiers in a deadly nighttime attack, and discovers why Ramzan, who arms each drone with bombs, believes this is the best way to kill Russians. Wow. Okay. War. Huh. What is it good for? Money. Money for rich people to make more money out of making drones and bombs and munitions and death machines. That's what it's good for. Edwin Starr, if you wanted to know. Sorry. I suppose that's not good though, is it? Daily Star here. Save £10. Thank you. And then we've got time to dig out the big brollies. Hell for weather on Halloween. Apparently this is a weather story that the Daily Star feels very much obliged to put on there. So they've also got Clarkson there saying death to litterbugs, which is a bit of a whatever. This is a guy who's polluted the fucking world more than anybody else in history. And he's going around now complaining about people who throw litter on the ground. Anyway, we've got, before we go on to the next paper, we've got Mr. Paula Thomas. Thank you very much. If you can afford to go abroad for treatments, you can afford to pay more tax to reduce waiting lists. Ooh. Paula said it. She said it. She's right. She's right, you know. Hashtag just saying, if you've got turkey teeth, then I feel like maybe you should pay a bit more tax towards the NHS. And then we've got tax rises will result in higher food prices. Bosses of Britain's biggest supermarkets issue stark warning to Rachel Reeves. Higher food prices? Really? Oh, okay. Okay, well, you know. Okay. And there's Mary Berry there on the front cover. Is she the mum of Jake Berry? Privately educated, of course. Off Bake Off. Is she off Bake Off? Is that who she's off? I don't know. Not keeping up with everything. I still haven't watched this season of The Traitors. Celebrity Traitors. Everyone's talking about it. And then we've got by the way, this is a story in the Mirror, and it's not to do with Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry. This is to do with Chris Martin, privately educated, of course, with his new girlfriend, Sophie Turner, privately educated, of course. Just saying. It's all of them. And then this really awful story on the front cover of the Daily Mail, the Daily Mirror here. And this is she took one of these fat jabs that she bought off the black market for £20, and she she got it done at a beauty salon which was unlicensed to give the injection, and she died. Please don't inject yourself with stuff. Please just do not do that. No matter what's happening in your life, it's never, ever a good idea to just inject stuff like that without going through the proper methods, like going to your GP, maybe seeing a specialist, maybe. But again, this is another, that death there. I'll put that, I don't know if that came, when that happened, but there's people now getting fat jabs on the black market because they can't afford to buy it off, through the proper channels anymore because of Trump putting up the prices of these injections by like 3 times or something, because he said that we were subsidized and that America was subsidizing our cheap medicine. So it's like, no, we negotiate a price. It's not that these pharmaceutical companies are making a loss. They're price gouging in America. They're profiteering in America. But that's because the American system allows them to do that. And then Christine Flack on her daughter Caroline. She needs to set the record straight. Okay. And then can light therapy really be a cure-all for health problems? No. The drill upstairs agrees with me. No, it just can't. Oh, we didn't get to the confetti. Oh well, never mind. Turkey teeth. Someone explain to one angry pagan what turkey teeth is. NHS needs extra $3 billion to avoid rationing care, which I mentioned this morning. Epping sex offender back in custody. That was 5 minutes of fun, wasn't it? And then 2 men arrested over theft at the Louvre. Nothing new in the old Guardian there. And then we're going to come to fucking Weasley Waxy Wes here. Worried Wes, voters are in despair. Streeting piles more pressure on Keir Starmer after week of woe. A top minister has heaped pressure on Keir Starmer by admitting votes are deeply disillusioned with Labour just 15 months after it came into power. Yeah, he's right. He's right. I hate the guy, but he's right. And then finally, we have the FT, which I think stands for fucking twats. And we've got Paris arrest suspects. US expects Beijing to delay rare earth export curbs as trade truce hopes arise. Preliminary consensus reached. Trump strikes blitz of Asia deals, meeting with Xi this week. So US officials expect China to delay introducing sweeping export controls on rare earths after 2 days of talks in Malaysia. Raised hopes that Donald Trump and Xi Jinping will agree to extend trade truce in their summit this week. Next up, we've got AI's near flawless faked receipts leave businesses to foot rising expenses bills. Near flawless faked receipts. Businesses are increasingly being deceived by employees using artificial intelligence for an age-old scam, faking expenses receipts. Good old AI. Eh? We need to have another conversation about AI, don't we? At some point, maybe I could do that for my Sunday sermon on Sunday, because I feel like we need to have a talk about it. Not least because I want to feel really smug when I say, "Oh, I said the bubble was going to burst. I said the whole thing was going to collapse. I said." So yeah, Sunday sermon, AI. Right, truth, the gist. What? People go to Turkey to get the teeth done. It's cheaper than going to UK dentists. Yeah, but specifically Shinzed, it's not just that they go there to get their teeth done. It's that they get the teeth whitened and they get these super bright white teeth like Rylan has. They're called turkey teeth. The majority of those who get turkey teeth need dental care and treatment when they get back to the UK. Yes, to fix any problems that have been made in Turkey. I actually find the FT the only fairly impartial newspaper on the stands. Just me. Yeah, the gist. I couldn't agree more. The FT is the only one that just tells you what the news what news has happened, whereas the other is like, here's what we think about this news that's happened. Read my opinion column. You know. As we say up in County Durham, why AI? Says the gist. Very good. I like that. It's the Yorkshire version of AI up. AI up. Graham, could you and Phil do it as part of the agenda, but use AI to face swap? I just think it'd be funny. No, Blue Badger, we're not doing that. I'm not going down that uncanny valley. Me and Focus. Thank you. Me and Phil are me and Mike are working on animation at the moment, and it's taking a bit longer than we wanted to because we don't want to use AI. We want to do it like this is all Mike's amazing drawings and putting it all together. I can't wait to share it with you. We were going to start it, but he's going away this week, so we thought we'd leave it until he's back from Madrid. He's going to look after his grandchild over there. But yeah, it's just face swap stuff is uncanny valley. Uncanny valley. I don't like it. Can we not call it AI? Break it down to component areas. Novelty is wearing off for some. Others while advancing, while others have been around for ages. Yeah, I mean, it's just predictive text. It's just next generation predictive text. Pasty Man 001 says, I used to live near Epping. I can't believe how often it's in the news. In the 70s, there were cattle roped on the street on market day and semi-wild cattle wandering in from the forest. Oh my God, in the 70s. What, the 1970s or the 1870s? The 1770s. Person in Bezos said, turkey teeth is a social media term for affordable cosmetic dental work, often veneers or crowns, sought through dental tourism in Turkey. Yeah, I just got a crown, sure beats missing a tooth. Yeah, I got a I got a crown. Maybe it's just a big filling. What's the difference between a crown and a big filling? I think I got a crown made when I was in South Africa in 2009, and it was amazing because they took a 3D scan of my mouth, and then they made it. I watched them make it in this machine, this like 3D milling machine. It's fucking amazing. Just put a little block of porcelain in there, and it to the exact shape of my broken tooth, or the redundancy in my tooth, whatever you call it, the vacuum, not the vacuum, the empty space where my tooth should have been. And they put it together. It was amazing. It was so good. And yeah, it's still in there. I don't know what side it's on, but yeah, still there. Still going strong. Hey, I was just about to wrap up, but Miss Paula Thomas has dropped £10 in the Super Chat Fund. So thank you very much. Trump is a bad businessman. He's been talking about dumbing down the F-35 sold abroad and limiting their use. Results, countries are buying Swedish and French jets instead. Yeah. I mean, we should be having daily meetings where we're like thinking of clever ways to like benefit from Trump's incompetence and his the stupid things he's doing in his own country. And we should be poaching the brightest and best from America like crazy. That's what we should be earmarking £1 billion. We should be putting £1 billion aside. What's that for? It's pay for Americans to come here. It's pay for all those Harvard graduates that we need. So, have you seen the Daily Mail cover some activists have replaced in supermarkets? Yes, I have, Lee Corn. This is really cool. So people have printed their own cover for the Mail and then put it on the front of the Mail so it looks like it's the actual cover. Genius bit of guerrilla marketing there. I love it. I love it. Guerrilla propaganda. But there you go. And did your dentist give you a coronation when you got your crown? Hey, very good, Sarah. I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna piss off now because gotta deal with the people putting in the radiator upstairs. I think it's really funny that my internet history is like all the adverts on when we go on to tomorrow's papers are all for radiators, and we're getting a radiator put in our bedroom because we don't have one and it's fucking freezing up there in the winter and we're sick of it. So yeah, it's like. If people are trying to like track down my everyday life, I don't keep a diary, so this will be obvious in years to come when I look back on this show. I'll be able to. Oh, that was the day we got that radiator installed. I can tell by all the radiator adverts that popped up on fucking tomorrow's papers. Anyway, so yeah, well, this is the country that built the NHS. This is the country that put so much cool shit together. I mean, we built Concorde. I know they never made a profit, but it's still fucking, that was a cool little fucking project. Now we can't make any high-speed rail properly. We can't do big infrastructure things properly. We can't even look after asylum seekers properly. We can't even look after our own people from the UK who need medical treatment. Now things are falling apart, and it's because of corruption. We're the 6th richest country in the world. The fucking money's there. Don't let anyone tell you that we haven't got the money. I'm sick of hearing it. We have. Dead rich. It's like billionaires fucking pleading poverty. Oh, well, I'm asset rich but cash poor. Fuck off. You sell one of your fucking assets. There you go. There's some cash for you. Or take a loan out. Oh, yeah. Now you've got loads of money. You don't have to pay tax on it. It's a little trick that the rich do, isn't it? Anyway, cheers for the show, Graham, says Chrissy. Oh, cheers for watching, mate, and cheers to everybody else. I've been saying he would restrict the software for F-35s, Clearsprings. Yeah, and also does anyone want to buy Boeing at the moment? After the 737 Maxes that went into the fucking ground and bodged together things, trying to keep up with Airbus and failing miserably. Google knows, Graham. We built the first computer, we developed radar, we developed the internet, and we brought railways to the world, says Chrissy. And now look at us. We're like scrabbling around, trying to like fucking catch up with Spain with our high-speed trains, and China and miles behind with our green energy behind China. What the fuck? They were the people that they were the country that people used to say, wasn't it? They don't do this anymore, but they say, well, why are we doing anything about the environment when China isn't? And it's like, now they are. Now they really fucking are. Sixth richest country in the world. Remove London from that equation, and the result is rather different. Yeah. But there's still loads of money, Nick. There's still loads of fucking money. I mean, we got rid of a lot of it because of Brexit. We didn't want it. But, you know, some of us want money. And Joanna says, we didn't create the internet. Well, Tim Burgess-Lee created the World Wide Web. Like the protocol for the World Wide Web. So it's not the internet. I mean, that was the American military. Oh, it was actually universities, wasn't it, in America? American universities. Thanks, Graham. Great show. Thanks, Lisa. That's very kind of you. Okay, I'm going off. I'll see you later. You have a great day. I'll be back at 9 o'clock tonight. Actually, we might do it a bit earlier because 9 o'clock's quite late for me. It's past my bedtime. So might do it a little bit earlier. But hopefully me and Scott will join you later to talk about what fucking Trump watch. Talk about what dickhead's been doing. Trump over the last week. Mad shit. The absolute annihilation of the East Wing of the White House, finishing off the job that Osama bin Laden started back on September the 11th, 2001. And the Republicans are like dancing on Reagan's grave. We'll get into that. So hopefully we'll see you this evening. If not, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, bright and early for Morning Brew. And yeah, give us a like on the way out. We like a like. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the super chats. Really appreciate that. And until next time, say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.